Brothers and sisters, there comes a moment in every person's life when they must draw a line in the sand and say, no more. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more leaving your life in the hands of circumstances you never chose. There comes a time when you have to make a decision, not a wish, not a preference, not a casual thought. A decision so powerful it redefines your identity, because nothing changes until you do. And I came here to remind you of something you already know deep down inside. Change your state and you will change your life. Now when I say change your state, I'm not just talking about geography. I'm not telling you to pack up and move to a new city, hoping your problems won't follow you. I'm not talking about external shifts or superficial transformations. I'm talking about the state of your mind, the state of your soul, the state of your spirit. Because, brothers and sisters, your state is the thermostat that sets the temperature of your life. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your state. If you want to soar, you need to reset your default. You need to take command over the one thing you've always had power over, how you choose to be. See, most people wait for conditions to improve before they feel better. They say, when I get the promotion, then I'll be happy. When I lose the weight, then I'll feel confident. When I find the right person, then I'll feel loved. But that's not how transformation works. That's not how power works. You don't wait for the world to change to feel better. You change the way you show up to the world and the world starts to shift. If you're waiting for life to be easy, for the road to be clear, for the right moment to come, you're going to wait forever. Life doesn't get easier, you get stronger. The moment you change your state is the moment life stops happening to you and starts happening for you. You might be asking, how do I change my state? Let me tell you, it starts with your physiology. How you move is how you feel. How you breathe is how you believe. If you're slouched over, shallow breathing, looking down, walking slow, you're sending a message to your brain that you're defeated, tired, unworthy. But when you stand up, breathe deep, shoulders back, eyes lifted, you send a different message. You tell your brain, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm alive. And your body follows your lead. You don't wait to feel confident to move like a winner. You move like a winner and the confidence catches up. Brothers and sisters, some of you are living in a state of fear. You're letting anxiety run the show. You've got a calling inside you, a dream that keeps whispering, but you keep hitting the snooze button on your destiny because fear keeps showing up louder than faith. But fear is a liar, fear is a thief, and fear only survives in the absence of movement. You want to break fear's grip, take a step. It doesn't have to be a leap, just a step. Because when you move in the direction of your purpose, fear gets quiet and courage gets loud. Others are stuck in a state of doubt. You're questioning your worth, your value, your capability. You're rehearsing the mistakes of your past instead of declaring the possibilities of your future. But let me tell you, you were not created for mediocrity. You were not built to survive. You were designed to thrive. You've got gifts inside of you that the world is waiting on. And it's not your job to be perfect. It's your job to be present, show up, stand tall. Speak truth, because your breakthrough doesn't come from avoiding failure. It comes from rising after it. And then there are those of you in a state of delay. You're not broken, you're not afraid, you're just waiting. Waiting for things to feel right, waiting for someone to give you permission, waiting for the stars to align. But brothers and sisters, delay is the silent killer of destiny. Delay steals more dreams than failure ever could. If it's in your heart, it's there for a reason. If the vision is in your mind, the provision is in your reach. Stop waiting for clarity and start moving in faith. Clarity comes from motion, not meditation. Destiny doesn't wait for your convenience. It waits for your commitment. So how do you shift out of these states? It starts with a decision. A firm, unshakable, non-negotiable decision. Not based on feelings. Not based on past results, but based on who you are committed to becoming, because your current state is not your final story. Where you are is not who you are. Just because you've been in a pattern doesn't mean you have to stay in that pattern. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are not your problems. You are a powerful creator with the ability to speak life into your own reality. But you've got to open your mouth. You've got to open your mind. You've got to open your heart and declare that enough is enough. Say it with me, enough is enough. Enough shrinking, enough doubting, enough hiding, enough postponing your greatness. The world is not waiting for another version of someone else. It's waiting for the full expression of who you were created to be. But you can't show up in your fullness when your state is stuck in survival mode. You can't create miracles with a mindset of misery. You've got to rise above the noise, rise above the excuses, rise above the stories that have kept you small, and let's talk about those stories. Because your state is shaped by the stories you keep telling yourself. Stories about who you are, stories about what's possible, stories about what happened to you. And if those stories are full of lack, fear, bitterness, and blame, you will live in that emotional reality, even if the circumstances have changed. Some of you are free on the outside, but still bound on the inside, still living in the shadows of what someone said about you 10 years ago, still carrying the weight of disappointment like it's your identity. But it's time to rewrite the story. It's time to take the pen back. Don't let your history write your future. Your past is a lesson, not a life sentence. So what's the new story? The new story is one of victory. One of power, one of possibility, one where you decide to own your worth, own your gifts, own your light, where you stop negotiating with average and start commanding abundance, because the moment you change your state, you become a magnet for a new level of life. You attract new people, new ideas, new opportunities, not because the world suddenly got better, but because you did, because you aligned your energy with excellence, you aligned your vision with value. You aligned your faith with action. Brothers and sisters, let me be clear. This is not hype. This is not theory. This is principle. This is law. Your emotional and mental state determine your frequency, and your frequency determines what you experience. You can't live a high vibration life with a low vibration mindset. You can't expect peace when you constantly entertain chaos. You can't expect favor when you speak failure. If you want to live at a higher level, you have to think, speak, move, and act like the person who already lives there. That's why gratitude is so powerful. Gratitude is not a feeling, it's a state. And when you choose to live in gratitude, you rewire your brain for abundance. You stop focusing on what's missing and start magnifying what's present. And what you magnify multiplies. So if you want more joy, celebrate the joy you already have. If you want more success, honor the seeds of success already planted in your life. Gratitude doesn't wait for perfection. It finds beauty in progress. And as you shift your state, you'll begin to notice something incredible, momentum, because momentum is not magic, it's movement multiplied. You take one step and then another. You change one thought, then another. You speak one word of life, then another, and suddenly what felt impossible becomes inevitable. What felt heavy becomes light. What felt distant becomes near, not because the world changed, but because you did. Because you made the decision to show up differently. Because you made the decision to own your power. So today, this moment, I'm inviting you to shift, to rise, to transform, to no longer accept the states of anger, fear, lack, and shame as normal. To no longer tolerate anything in your life that insults your soul. Your peace is priceless. Your purpose is priceless. Your power is priceless, and once you change your state, you'll never be the same. Because when you live from a state of purpose, passion, peace, and power, everything around you aligns to match that frequency. People will ask you what changed. They'll say, you look different, you talk different, you walk different. And you'll smile and say, I didn't change my job, I didn't change my house, I didn't change my friends, I changed my state, I changed my life. and they'll want to know how they can do it too, and just like that, your shift becomes someone else's inspiration. Your elevation becomes someone else's roadmap. Because when one person chooses to rise, it gives permission for others to do the same. So I challenge you now not to wait, not to hesitate, not to let this message become another note you forget, but to decide, to declare, to commit, to stand in the power of who you truly are. Because your life will not change by chance, it changes by choice. Change your state, and you will change your life. And when you change your life, you change the world. It begins with you, and it begins now. And so, brothers and sisters, now that you've made the decision to change your state, to claim your life, to own your power, don't you dare look back. Don't you dare entertain the old identity that tried to keep you bound. Because once you know who you are, once you know what lives inside you, once you've tasted the clarity of alignment, going back is no longer an option. And I know the old you will try to rise up again, the version that was comfortable settling, the version that was okay being average, the version that was afraid of being seen, but that version is no longer welcome. That version has served its time. That version was only a placeholder, keeping space warm until the real you stepped into the room. And now that you're here, you must walk in it. You must speak like it. You must lead like it. You see, people talk about transformation like it's some mystical, magical moment. But transformation doesn't come in the form of lightning bolts and thunderclaps. It comes in the form of daily decisions. It comes in the way you talk to yourself when no one is watching. It comes in the way you choose discipline over distraction. It comes in the way you show up to your life when excuses feel more comfortable than execution. That's where the change happens, not just on stages or in front of cameras, but in the quiet corners of your life when you decide that you are worth the effort. Some of you are still trying to carry the weight of old labels. Somebody called you lazy, somebody said you weren't enough, somebody told you to be realistic, and you've been trying to outrun those words for years, but let me tell you right now, there is no power in fighting the lie. The power is in replacing it with the truth. You don't overcome darkness by wrestling with it. You overcome darkness by turning on the light, and that light is your awareness. That light is your authority. That light is your divine right to define yourself, not based on what happened to you, not based on where you've been, but based on who you were created to be. You were not created for defeat. You were not designed for disappointment. You were not made for mediocrity. You are a miracle. You are a masterpiece. You are a message. And the only thing standing between the life you have and the life you want is the state you choose to live in daily. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I am saying it's going to be worth it, because the pain of staying stuck will always cost more than the discomfort of transformation. So let the old habits die. Let the self-pity go. Let the resentment dissolve. Your destiny is too important. Your future is too rich. Your calling is too loud to be ignored. The moment you wake up and choose intentionality over impulse, something inside you shifts. You begin to move differently. You begin to think from your future, not your past. You begin to talk from your purpose, not your pain. And when that happens, doors open that you never saw before. Not because the opportunities weren't there, but because your state had blinded you from recognizing them. You can't see favor through the fog of fear. You can't receive wisdom when you're wrapped in worry. But when you shift your state, the fog lifts, and suddenly the world starts reflecting the power that was already within you. And you must protect that state like your life depends on it, because it does. You can't let negative people have access to your atmosphere. You can't let every opinion become an invitation into confusion. You've got to set boundaries. You've got to cultivate your mind like a sacred garden. Pull the weeds of doubt. Water the seeds of belief. Feed it with truth daily. Speak life into it consistently, because if you don't take control of your state, someone else will. The world is full of noise, full of distraction, full of fear. based programming trying to keep you in a state of submission. But you are not meant to be passive. You are not meant to be compliant. You were born to be bold, to be decisive, to be intentional. So the question is not, can I do it? The question is, will I choose it? Will you choose to rise when it would be easier to retreat? Will you choose joy when bitterness seems justified? Will you choose forgiveness when the pain still echoes? Will you choose courage when your knees are trembling? Because those choices are what define the trajectory of your life. Every day you have the power to reset your state. Every moment is a chance to choose again. You are never stuck. You are only one decision away from a completely different outcome. And let me remind you, this isn't just about motivation. This isn't just about feeling good. This is about legacy. This is about generations being shifted because you decided to shift. Your children, your community, your circle of influence, they are all impacted by your decision to live in a higher state. Because when you operate from a place of power, of love, of clarity, you don't just lift yourself. You lift others. You become a lighthouse in the storm, a reference point for what's possible. And that's the true measure of greatness. Not what you achieve alone, but what you awaken in others simply by being who you are. That's why you can't afford to live small anymore. That's why you can't keep dimming your light to make others comfortable. Your light was never meant to be hidden. Your fire was never meant to be contained. And yes, some people won't understand the new you. Some will try to pull you back into the old state. But don't let their discomfort become your limitation. Don't let their opinions become your prison. You have too much inside you to be held hostage by someone else's fear. If they can't handle your growth, let them watch you rise from a distance, because you're not shrinking anymore. You're not apologizing for wanting more. You're not compromising your calling to fit into someone else's comfort zone. From this day forward, walk like your future is already written in gold. Speak like your words are creating worlds. Move like your steps are ordered. Live like your legacy is depending on it, because it is. Every time you choose to shift your state, you reclaim authority over your life. You take back what life, people, systems, or circumstances tried to steal. And with every moment of alignment, your confidence compounds, your power multiplies, your vision expands, and suddenly, what once felt like a distant dream starts to feel like a present reality. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. Don't wait for the right opportunity. Prepare for it. Don't wait for someone to choose you. Choose yourself, and watch what happens when you do. Watch how the atmosphere responds. Watch how the doors swing open. Watch how the resources find you, not because they weren't there before, but because your new state attracted them. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And when you become the embodiment of power, peace, purpose, and prosperity, life has no choice but to reflect that back to you. And even on the hard days, even when you feel like slipping back, even when the doubt creeps in, stand on the truth of who you are. Stand on the vision that's been planted in you. Stand on the faith that this moment is not the end, it's the beginning, because changing your state is not a one-time event, it's a lifelong practice. It's a moment-by-moment discipline, but every time you do it, you gain ground. Every time you do it, you elevate your baseline. Every time you do it, you become more of who you were born to be. So hold your head high. Breathe deeply, speak with authority, walk with confidence, act with purpose, and live with urgency, because this life is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. This is the one. And the world is waiting, not for a version of you that fits in, but for the real you to show up, take up space, and claim the life that has always been yours. Remember, brothers and sisters, nothing changes until you do. But the moment you do, everything does. You are not limited by your past, your environment, or your current conditions. You are only limited by the state you choose to maintain. So choose wisely, choose boldly. Choose now, because when you change your state, you don't just shift your mood. You shift your entire reality. You change your trajectory, you change your legacy, you change your life, and when you change your life, you give others permission to do the same. So go out there and live like it, walk like it, speak like it, be it, because the power has always been in you, the shift has already begun, the next chapter is already unfolding. Now it's your time to step into it. No more waiting, no more shrinking, no more questioning. It's your time, it's your season, it's your turn. Change your state, change your life, and never look back. So, brothers and sisters, as we come to the end of this moment, but truly the beginning of a new chapter in your life, I need you to pause and breathe in this truth. You are not the same as you were when this message began. Something in you has already shifted. Maybe it's quiet, maybe it's subtle, but it's real. And now the question is not whether you felt the fire, it's whether you will carry it forward. Because inspiration without action is just a spark that fades. But inspiration with action becomes a wildfire of transformation that nothing can stop. You now know the truth that will separate the life you tolerate from the life you were created for, that your state, your emotional, mental, spiritual condition, is the key that unlocks everything. And from this day forward, you can no longer pretend you don't have the power. You can no longer ignore the voice within calling you to rise. You can no longer surrender to fear, to doubt, to delay. Not because life won't challenge you, but because you now understand you are the one who defines how you meet those challenges. The world around you might not change overnight, but you will. And because you will, everything around you eventually must. That's not theory, that's law. You will walk into rooms differently, speak into conversations differently, show up in your family, your business, your community with a light that others can't explain. And when they ask you what happened, when they wonder what the secret is, you'll know the answer is simple and unshakable. I changed my state. I made a decision, and when I did, my life changed with it. So hold on to this moment. Let it brand your spirit, let it anchor your choices, and when life tries to pull you back, when the old patterns try to rise again, when the noise of the world tries to distract you, remember this: you are not who you used to be. You are a creator, a builder, a force, and the power to shape your future does not lie in the stars, or in luck, or in waiting. It lies in the state you choose to live in every single day. Change your state, brothers and sisters. Change your life and never ever go back. The future is calling. Step into it.